Vokurka's mastery of the violin began as a student at the Public Conservatory of Music in Prague, Czechoslovakia. In 1957, he was the all-state winner in the youth competition for classical piano-violin duo, and his musical career took off. He became a regular player at Prague's most popular musical venues and starred on radio and television. Ed Vokurka arrived in Canada more than 40 years ago, and he's still entertaining people with his music. With his classical background and his passion for jazz, he swings a violin in the tradition of the great legends, Joe Venuti and Stefan Grappelli. It's a great pleasure to present Ed Vokurka on stage in Studio 2. Master violinist Ed Vokurka. You know what the kids say today, Ed? That is banging. That is banging. Welcome to Studio 2.
Thank you.
Great to meet you. That was just terrific.
Invited.
That was just great. What was that piece called?
Lady Be Good.
Written by?
Gershwin.
That's George Gershwin. I thought so, wasn't it? Yeah. Okay, let's introduce your colleagues, then we'll come back and talk a little bit. Starting with the piano man. There's Richard Whiteman, originally from Etobicoke, Ontario. Over on the bass, Kieran Overs, who grew up in the High Park section of Toronto. On the guitar, Tony Quarrington. Very nicely chapeaued this evening. Tony, originally from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, and on the drums, Glenn Anderson, who grew up in Scarborough, Ontario. Ed, it's not St. Patrick's Day, so why is your violin green? That's what I want to know.
I couldn't get a blue one.
You couldn't get a blue one. You got the blue shirt.
Yeah, but, you know, they had aqua color. I like really, you know, color like it's drums.
Now, that's the normal color of a violin I'm used to seeing, the one you've got on the floor there.
This is my old Steiner. I brought it back from home.
Doesn't change the sound at all, does it, to color it like that?
Not color, but it's different tuning.
Different tuning.
I have this one in a C major, and the other one I have in B flat.
It looks very cool, I must tell you.
It's different. Nobody did it. I think I'm the first one.
I think you are. Now, we mentioned in the intro Joe Venuti.
Yes.
One of the great swing violinists. Yes. And you played with him at some point, did you not? Tell me about that.
It was 1972, and there used to be a place called Bourbon Street. It's just close to the present jazz club called Rex. It's just off University Avenue.
Downtown Toronto.
Downtown. It was 1972. He had a gig for about 1 week, and a good friend of mine, bassist Sten Zajadak, invited me to, you know, to be introduced to Joe. And of course, I didn't know that time what kind of a star it is. And you know, he was very nice to me, and he told me a few things. And he actually told me, don't be afraid to play classical also. So he did, for example, Dvořák, Humoresque, or Hot Canary. These things which are not common usually in jazz field, and I was honored that he let me to sit in, and I was playing with him.
Isn't that great? When did you first get exposure to this whole Hot Club of Paris style of playing?
Actually, my first band was 1957 in Prague. It was not, I didn't know about Django Reinhardt. I didn't know even about Grappelli. I didn't know about Joe Venuti, but the music was around. And I had a band for about 4 years and called The Style.
The Style, nice.
And we played this type of music, yes. It was, I had a 5-piece band, and I think one instrument was accordion, which I don't have here. Right.
Was there a lot of jazz in Prague when you were growing up?
Oh, Prague is full of jazz people.
It is.
It might be interesting that maybe Jan Hammer is my compatriot, and he's the one which did Miami Vice.
Oh, yes, okay.
And he is from Prague. George Brass is bassist. He also did university at Berkeley, and he plays with Oscar Peterson and other musicians which I just cannot remember.
I hear Václav Havel was a heck of a jazz fan too.
He was fan. I don't think he was a musician.
No, he wasn't a musician.
Yeah, there was President Clinton was there, and he was playing sax, I understand. Yeah,
well, he could.
Yeah, I didn't know personally Václav Havel. He's my generation, but he's a little bit older than me.
Well, not only that, you left, I think I said in the intro, you left what is now Czech Republic, then Czechoslovakia,
yes.
More than 40 years, not quite 40 years, right? It was 1967 when you left?
1967 we left,
So now this is interesting, because it's before the Prague Spring.
Yes.
So why did you leave at that time?
The answer for that would be more complex, because it's not just a simple answer, but the situation was stale in the system. I didn't know what will come. I didn't know that Dubček will come. I didn't know that there will be Prague Spring. Nobody could know that. I thought that this Soviet empire will never go away, but it was kind of almost impossible to live culturally. We couldn't travel. we couldn't do many things which are so, considered granted for all of us here.
And why did you pick Canada?
Well, I had a choice to go to Australia. I thought that there's so many snakes there. I don't like snakes.
Too many snakes. Oh, that's great. Okay. All right, so you didn't like that. And you knew there were no snakes in Canada, so you thought that's better.
I thought it's kind of comparable with my, with Czech Republic. We have a snow, we have spring, so I thought this is maybe a nice place to go.
And you arrived in 1967, which was our centennial year.
It was centennial year.
So it was a cool year to be here.
Believe me, I was crying. Because, we went, on a bus from Montreal Airport, and we've seen just night Montreal skyline, and we've seen all those nice lights, and I couldn't believe I made it. I never thought that I can get out. Of course, a year later, it was so-called Prague Spring, and if I would be there, maybe I would stay. But, it was too late. I was already here, and I like it here.
Any regrets about leaving when you did?
No. I'm completely here, and fully with my heart, with my body, with my violin.
With your violin.
Yes.
That's fantastic. We're so glad you decided to join us today and visit us. Could you tell me what you're going to play for us next? Yeah, the next piece is a kind of ballad. It's Georgia on My Mind. And we'll put some kind of a different touch to it. How about that? I can't wait to hear it.
I will be using different violin. I will be using my old Steiner violin, which is tuned in B-flat, for your information.
Tuned in B-flat and brown.
Yes, it's brown.
Very old-fashioned.
Yes.
So the green one's going on the sidelines. Let's show everybody what you've been up to lately. Here is the latest from the Ed Vokurka Quintet, Violin Swing and Jazz Ensemble. Look at that smile. You can feel it in his music, can't you, folks?